What is going on, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star Rail video. And today I want to be talking about some stuff regarding mainly 3.0 stuff, so the characters being the Herta and Aglaea, and also for the chance that we finally might be getting the actual skin for March 7th, which would mean more skins that will be coming in the future. It's been well over a year since we did see that March skin, and so seeing that it potentially might be coming playable with all this info going around is really cool to see, since a lot of us have been wanting skins for ages. You know, it's been a thing since the beginning of the game. We always wondered for one of the first things, when are we going to get skins? And for some reason it took so long to get a skin, even though we saw March literally change outfits in the actual story. And now we finally got the first skin change, which was Pom Pom changing to the chef outfit. That was all we really got, and that was just it. So today I want to talk about the potential final changes for the characters in 3.0, and then also that stuff regarding the skins. So before we get into the video, drop a like, drop a sub, hit the bell icon for future videos like this, and let's get straight into it. So I will say, as a big disclaimer now, once again, as always, this is info going around. This could be completely different in the final product of the game. The stream is practically a day away, so we would be seeing the characters in the stream. They don't actually show what the characters do, unfortunately, but, well, they do, but not in pure detail. So again, the stream is soon. They'll probably announce all the stuff there, but this is just info going around, and there's a chance that they might not actually mention it on the stream, but it still could happen. It could not happen. It could be different. So again, take it with a grain of salt. So first, talking about the potential changes to the actual 3.0 characters, which for the most part, this is probably going to be the final info going around for changes on them. It's mainly, from what it seems, being Eidolon changes and not the craziest changes when it comes to their base kit, besides maybe one or two components. But first, let's actually go ahead and talk about the Herta. So the Herta doesn't seem like she got too many changes, but it does seem overall like a buff that she has received overall. So for starters, the stacks that it did seem like you can get on the enemies that you would get from the additional amount from the actual technique has seemed like they actually took that out and moved it to the talent, so you don't actually have to use the technique to get that. It's already now going to be in her base talent to gain those additional stacks. And the buff her technique did give does seem like it also got a pretty nice increase for roughly about 20% from what we are seeing. So that's really nice, buffing the technique while also moving the main component of that technique, which is what made it really good, into her actual base kit, so on times you don't have to use technique. Now her base kit would just be that much more stronger, as it already hasn't, and you don't need to use the technique to have it. Most battles you'll use the technique anyway, since for the most part you get the chances to, but in the off chance you'll still have it now. That's practically the only thing that does seem like was changed for her actual base kit. The other one does seem like it's actually more regarding the Eidolons, primarily the first two Eidolons. So the E1 does seem like it was buffed by a really good amount and can actually calculate a higher amount of stacks, since previously it did seem like her E1 was going to let you calculate a certain percentage of stacks, and now that amount that it will calculate does seem to be even higher than it was before, and also will reset the stacks, meaning you can have more stacks after the reset. Since you do a certain attack, you reset the stacks, it seems like it's going to go down to an even less amount, meaning you would actually be able to continue having more stacks on the enemy, so therefore you can still do more damage. So it overall does seem like that her E1 is going to be a better play to get over her Lycon from what is being said, and with the info going around, so that's going to be another case where the E1 ends up being better than the Lycon. I personally don't like cases where the E1 is better than the Lycon. I like usually getting the character, then the Lycon, then getting dupes on the characters, but there's already multiple cases where the E1 would be more preferable than the Lycon for characters existing in the game, so not really too crazy of a thing right there. At least the E1 change is really good. On top of that, for her E2, it seems like the potential action advance that it would give was also roughly increased by 20%, which is a fantastic change if you were able to hit thresholds. So certain speed thresholds and action value, once you are able to hit those, you gain another turn. So this could be really good for stuff like zero cycles or just even general clears if you do hit the thresholds. So that's a really nice increase to her E2 as well. Otherwise, it is just unchanged. It's just the action advance part that did seem to be buffed from that. So for Herta, it seems like overall from the info going around is a overall buff, which is a good thing for any Herta fans. So if this ends up being in the final product of the game and is right from the info going around, that's going to be really good for you guys. Now talking about Aglaea, her changes are not very significant besides the Eidolon stuff, because that stuff is seeming to be pretty depressing. So for the base kit, the main thing that was seeming like it was changed was the Memo Sprite talent having a 5 speed increase, which is nice. It's definitely welcome. It's not anything game changing, obviously, it's just an extra 5 speed, so there's that. And then anything else does come from the Eidolons. So the most unfortunate part is it does seem like what the previous E1 and E2 were actually swapped. So the previous E2 is now the E1 and the previous E1 is now the E2, and they were both also slightly buffed as well. Since previously the E2, which is now the E1, would make enemies take increased damage and also gain some energy for Aglaea herself. The energy does seem seem like it's the same, but the increased damage taken by enemies does seem like it was increased. And for E2, which was previously here E1, does also seem like it was buffed because it has the same amount of stacks, so you can still only stack it up to roughly about 2 to 3 times. But the defense ignore you got from it has been increased by 1%, so you can get roughly about 15% from what it does seem. And if the stackable amount does become 3, that means it would be an extra 3% total defense ignore you could get. So unfortunately, those were swapped around, and that's the all changes. The base kit didn't really change much, it's just a little bit of extra speed for the Memo Sprite talent. And then E2 and E1 getting slightly buffed, but also shifted is very sad in my opinion. I really wanted the E1 on Aglaea if this was true, so that's just unfortunate now that it's kind of switched, and now I'd have to go for E2. So if that ends up being real, pretty sad for me. Let me know if you guys are kind of sad about that too. And now talking about the thing I mentioned in the video about skins. So there's a bunch of times where we had info circulating around and none of it was ever really reliable. This one does seem like it's going to be pretty reliable and will be something we hopefully see in 3.0, which once again, I'm sure the stream will talk about us finally getting an outfit, but in case they don't or they just have it there hidden, it does seem like the skins are finally going to become a thing from 3.0 going forward, and the first one is going to be none other than the March 7th skin, and it does seem like it's going to work pretty similar to how Genshin skin system works. So there's going to be stuff that kind of have like rarities, and what that means is probably going to be one that's like gold, like the Deluxe skin in Genshin, and then the purple ones, which are like the ones you can kind of get for free sometimes, but sometimes are also paid. The March 7th skin is seeming to be free, so that's going to be one that we can get in a limited time. So probably during an event, you do the event, get the reward, now you have the outfit, similar to how you would get an outfit such as when the original skins came out in Genshin back in 1.6. I think it was 1.6 when the Barbara and Jean skin got released. The Jean one was purchasable while the Barbara one was free. You do the event, you get that. But let's say you do end up missing the event, then it's going to be put into the shop where you would later have to purchase it. So unfortunately, there doesn't seem like it's going to be a case where maybe they might rerun it or it's going to be in a hidden shop in the replayability of the events, but rather just be like Genshin, where if you miss the event on the free time where you're able to claim it, so if you miss the Barbara one in Genshin, if you miss one of the other ones, you would have to go into the store and purchase it with the paid currency. Unfortunately, it does seem like it's going to function the similar way, which is pretty unfortunate, but it's kind of been expected. If they did something like that, it would probably work the same way. So that does seem like it's going to be the first skin we finally get, and then there's going to be future skins going forward. Will they all be 5 stars for 5 stars and 4 stars for 4 stars, like how the March one is going to be a free purple one? Will the gold ones be all 5 stars, or will it be a one-off thing like Deluxe? Because in Genshin, the Deluxe skin is the only 5-star kind of gold one that kind of has like different voice lines, different effects. Don't know why, but it's hopefully going to be not that case where we actually get more of them. Unfortunately, they usually end up being more expensive, and it does seem like those gold ones or the more limited ones is still going to be ones where you can only buy it. So there's potentially going to be a future one for, let's say, someone like Kafka. If she gets a skin and it's gold, it's 99.9% chance going to be purchasable, or even if it's purple, it's most likely going to be purchasable as well. So it's practically going to be identical to the Genshin one, where sometimes if it's like a 4-star, it probably will be free in events, so just like this March one. And if it's a 5-star or a gold one where maybe there's different effects or voice lines, it is most likely going to be one that is paid. And if that is the video, that is the potential final changes and the info going around for the characters in 3.0, and also the chances for the skin system that we are seeming to potentially get from the 3.0 update. Once again, I cannot disclaim this enough. This is just info going around. This is just speculation, and once again, could be reliable info going around, but could be completely different when it does come out in the game. Best thing you can do is to wait for the game update to actually launch, so when 3.0 goes up and we have everything. And as I already mentioned, the stream is just tomorrow, so if there's this stuff happening, they'll show the characters. Unfortunately, they won't get into the specifics of the kits, so this is probably going to be something that goes into the actual game, but we will see. And as for the skins, if they show the March skin on the stream and tell us it's for free, then it's pretty safe to assume this is how it's going to work. But in case, it is just info going around, so definitely take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Peace out.